My name's Colin. I live in Bath in the southwest of England. This is my channel, the Yay Nay or Meh channel, and this is my final Oscar prediction video and I guess preview video for the 2026 ceremony. It's that time of year. This is essentially what I've been working towards and what all of us have been working towards for many months. Let's see, I did my first Oscar video in April, I think it was. So what's that? 11 months. Yeah, 11 months basically. So yeah, I've been talking about this Oscar ceremony for nearly a year. That's either impressive or depressing, depending on how you look at it. But in any case, in this video, I will be giving my preview and my predictions for all the Oscar categories. I'm not going to go into great detail about many of them. I mean, I've done a lot of videos already, including my Oscar snubs video, which deals with a lot of the above the line categories, and in passing I've kind of talked about my thoughts on those categories. But at the very least, in every single category, I will be giving my opinion, what I think will win and what I think should win. And I've watched almost all the feature-length nominees at the Academy Awards, and I've also watched the animated shorts, but I didn't get around to watching the documentary and live-action shorts before the link I had expired, or the place that was showing them expired. So I have seen the animated shorts, and I can give educated guesses about the documentary live-action shorts. The only films that actually got nominated that I didn't see were Jurassic Park Rebirth. I haven't watched a Jurassic Park movie in about a decade, and I really didn't feel the need to watch that just for a visual effects nominee. And I haven't watched the documentary Viva Verdi, which had a song nominated for the Academy Awards. I mean, I've listened to the song, obviously, because I did a whole video about the Academy Awards original song category this year. But I didn't feel the need to watch the film just to listen to the song. So those are the two actual nominees which I haven't watched, and the 10 documentary and live action short films. But everything else I've watched, so I can give an informed opinion, albeit an enthusiastic amateur. I mean, I never went to film school. I've picked up stuff here and there, but I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. This is just my opinion. But that's kind of what we're here for, isn't it? I mean, it's sharing opinions, sharing thoughts. And as I said, I mean, the focus of this video is going to be in every category giving what I think will win and what I think should win. And this is going to be a long video considering I've got all the categories to deal with. So let's just get on with it and start with the big one. Best Picture. I really think this is a two-horse race, as it's going to be in many of these categories. I think ultimately this is going to be a showdown between One Battle After Another and Sinners. And I probably should say, and I probably should apologise, if you've watched any of my videos, I mean the 11 months worth of videos that I've released up until this point, I was always very sceptical about the chances of Sinners. It wasn't because of lack of quality. I really liked Sinners. I just didn't think that the Academy at large was going to go for it, because it's a film about race, but not in a way that the Academy is always comfortable with. I mean, they tend to go for things like Green Book or Driving Miss Daisy rather than Do the Right Thing. I mean, obviously there are exceptions like Moonlight, but in general, films about race tend to be digestible and comfortable for a voting body which, although it is changing, I think is still largely old and white. So I didn't think that Sinners was going to get anywhere. And yet it's ended up with the most Oscar nominations in history, which I love and I'm very, very impressed with. So yeah, I love Sinners, and for that matter, I do love One Battle After Another. I mean, out of this list of nominees, personally speaking, I think the absolutely outstanding films are Begonia, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. Those are my choices for what is the absolute cream of the crop this year. But ultimately, as I said, this is going to be a showdown between Sinners and One Battle After Another. And speaking personally, despite the fact I have been somewhat dismissive of it throughout the entire year, throughout the whole of this process, I think what I want to win, what I think should win, is Sinners. I think out of these nominees, it is my favourite. I mean, as I've said in my snubs video, and as I've said in many of these videos, my favourite film of 2025 didn't even get nominated. It Was Just an Accident was the winner in my snubs video. I think that's a masterpiece. And if that had been nominated, I think that should have won. But out of what we have here, my choice is Sinners. And I think that's the easier question to answer in this category, because I really don't know. I mean, I really could go either way between Sinners and One Battle After Another to what is going to win Best Picture. I mean, there are other categories where I'm much, much more confident about what will win. But in this category, which is going to win Best Picture? I think the favourite is One Battle After Another. So ultimately, I think that is where what I think will win is One Battle After Another. And I think it will deserve it. I mean, I just prefer Sinners. But yeah, I think it's going to be One Battle After Another in this category. And the next category is also going to be another showdown between One Battle After Another and Sinners in Best Director, or rather more specifically, it's going to be a showdown between Paul Thomas Anderson and Ryan Coogler. And in this category, I'm actually very, very confident, because I really think this is Paul Thomas Anderson's year. I think he's going to win Best Director. Probably going to win Best Adapted Screenplay as well, which we'll get to in a minute. But I think this is an easy one to predict, because Paul Thomas Anderson is due. He's been nominated so many times before. I think it was something like 11 nominations or something, and never won. I mean, when that started being part of the conversation, I thought, oh, surely that's got to be a mistake. Surely Paul Thomas Anderson's won already. But no, he hasn't. He's one of this generation's great American filmmakers or whatever, and he's never won an Oscar. And this year is a perfect opportunity to give him one. I am very, very confident that Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win Best Director. Whether or not One Battle After Another wins Best Picture, I think Best Director is going to Paul Thomas Anderson. Because you can make arguments either way as to whether director and picture go together or whether they're going to split, because there's been recent examples of both of those happening. But regardless of what wins Best Picture, and like I said, I can make an argument either way for Sinners and One Battle After Another, in Best Director, I think it's going to be Paul Thomas Anderson. So that's who I think will win. But I think I prefer Ryan Coogler. I think Ryan Coogler should win for Sinners. I mean, as I've said in my snubs video, he was my choice in the Snubs video, and I think what he managed to achieve, the layers, the different themes, the fact of the different formats used, some being shot in full IMAX, some in the much narrower aspect ratio, the themes of the film, the layers, and if nothing else, the I lied to you scene, as I've said many, many times, I think that was the best scene of 2025. And you could basically give him a Best Director Oscar win for that scene alone. I mean, Sinners is so much more than that one scene, but it sure as hell helps. So yeah, I think my choice for Best Director would be Ryan Coogler, even though I am very confident that Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win Best Director. Next up is Best Actress. And I really don't need to talk about this much at all, because this is the one category, the one above the line category, which has just completely swept everything. Jessie Buckley is going to win. I think there is an absolute inevitability about Jessie Buckley winning Best Actress. And personally speaking, I think she's deserved. I think she should win as well. I mean, with the exception of Kate Hudson, I wouldn't be upset if any of these actresses won Best Actress. I do not know what Kate Hudson's doing in this category, other than the fact she's got a lot of friends in Hollywood. Kate Hudson doesn't deserve this nomination, but other than that, everybody is excellent. It's just Jessie Buckley, I think, is a level above, which is why she's swept this category all throughout the award season. So yeah, very, very easy, going chalk on this one. Jessie Buckley should win and will win in Best Actress. Really nothing more to say. So, Best Actor. Now this one is actually a really, really interesting one. There's an argument to be made in so many different directions. I mean, Michael B. Jordan rather surprisingly won the ACTA Awards, what used to be known as the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Timothée Chalamet won the Golden Globe, or one of the Golden Globes. Wagner Moura won the other Golden Globe. And as I've said previously, I'm just not a fan of Wagner Moura or The Secret Agent. Ethan Hawke's been doing well with the critics groups, and Leonardo DiCaprio is always a contender no matter what he does. So this is one category I'm genuinely not sure what's going to win. I mean, you would say that Timothée Chalamet is probably the favourite since he has won the Critics' Choice and the Golden Globes. I mean, BAFTA's no help because, Robert Aramayo, the British actor, won at the BAFTAs. Deservedly so. He would have been my choice out of the BAFTA list. So is it going to be Timmy? But it's that last minute surge by Michael B. Jordan winning the ACTA Awards. Does that say something? I mean, the actors branch of the Academy is the largest branch and the strongest branch. So who is going to win? Well, I think the slightly easier category to say in the way I'm doing this video is my choice, what I think should win. I think I'm going to go with Michael B. Jordan. I mean, the fact that he portrays two, arguably three, roles in Sinners and does them all really, really well. I mean, the fact that he is embodying the themes of this film, I mean, the cultural appropriation and being an outsider and fighting for freedom and self-expression and dignity and all that kind of stuff, and not always succeeding. The power of music, all of those themes Michael B. Jordan does. So yeah, I think my choice is going to be Michael B. Jordan for what I think should win. but what do I think will win? I think I'm going to have to go with Timothée Chalamet. It's one of those situations where, I mean, like Leonardo DiCaprio, eventually he's going to win one. And it took Leonardo DiCaprio a long, long time to get an Oscar win. I think Timothée Chalamet is in that same boat, and I think Timothée Chalamet is going to win. I mean, as I've said in other videos, Marty Supreme is not my taste. I didn't especially like Marty Supreme as a film, but Timothée Chalamet's performance in it, playing an absolute bastard, is very, very good. I'm not confident in it, but I think Timothée Chalamet will win. But a good argument I can make for anybody except Magnamura, I think my choice would be Michael B. Jordan. Yeah. But that's going to be really, really interesting seeing how that develops on Oscar night. Next category is Best Supporting Actress. And this is another category where a lot can happen. Teyana Taylor won the Golden Globe. Amy Madigan won the Critics' Choice and the Actor Awards. And Wunmi Mosaku won BAFTA. I mean, well, out of that list, I think we can exclude one. I think, although I'm not 100% sure, we can exclude Wunmi Mosaku because she won the BAFTA and she's a British performer. And when in doubt, the BAFTAs tend to go British. So I think we can put Wunmi Mosaku to the side, although I wouldn't be surprised if she won. I think this has always seemed like a two-horse race between Amy Madigan and Teyana Taylor. And much as I don't like saying this, I think Amy Madigan is going to win. She does have the best narrative, an aging actress coming good late in her career, oh, where have you been, Amy Madigan? Here, have an award. I kind of see why her performance in Weapons has been praised. I mean, but she is basically playing a murder clown. And that's what we're giving Oscars to. That's the horror movie that breaks through. When you didn't give for Toni Collette in Hereditary, when you didn't give for Hugh Grant in Heretic, this is the horror movie that breaks through. I mean, alright, you had The Substance last year, but I think that's a special case. That wasn't seen as a horror movie, I don't think. And Demi Moore got nominated, but she didn't win. But she had the best narrative last year, so maybe Amy Madigan isn't a lock. I mean, this is a category where I do not know what's going to win, but I think Amy Madigan is going to win. And I'm just not actually that impressed with her performance in Weapons. So I'm going to be disappointed if she wins, but I think my bet would be Amy Madigan. As to what I think should win, I'm going to highlight something that I don't think a lot of people are. My choice, my personal choice, is going to be Inga Ipsdos from Sentimental Value. I think it's a somewhat subtle performance. I think it's a performance that has a background. I mean, there's a certain type of supporting performance which gets nominated where it's a somewhat background character who has one great speech. Laura Dern in Marriage Story, Michelle Williams in Manchester by the Sea, America Ferrera in Barbie. These are performances of that type. And to some degree, Ingrid Stotter-Liljas is that kind of performance, but she has two great speeches. I mean, there's one speech where she tells off her father, Stellan Skarsgård, for the crappy way he treated her and her sister when they were growing up. And there's another one where she told her sister, Renate Reinsve, just what she meant to Ingrid Stotter-Liljas and how much she owes her. I mean, the two great speeches and the somewhat subtle way, I mean, that being the core of the film to some degree, where the two much bigger personalities of her sister and her father, Stellan Skarsgård and Renate Reinsve, they need a focal point to be flamboyant and be the artist, whereas Ingrid Stotter-Liljas is just the steady, quiet core of the film, and she does it really, really well. So yeah, I think Ingrid Stotter-Liljas would be my choice. I mean, she hasn't got a prayer of actually winning, I don't think, but my choice out of these five is Ingrid Stotter-Liljas from Sentimental Value in the Best Supporting Actress category. But what I think will win, I think my bet would be on Amy Madigan, even though I would rather she didn't win. Right, Best Supporting Actor. And over the last couple of weeks, this one actually got rather interesting because Sean Penn started winning. He won the BAFTA and he won the Actor Award, the Screen Actors Guild Award, over Stellan Skarsgård. I mean, Stellan Skarsgård had already won the Golden Globe, and Jacob Elordi won the Critics' Choice Award, which was an odd one. But Sean Penn, I think, now has two major precursors. And when I thought that Stellan Skarsgård was, the absolute guaranteed winner, particularly, I mean, that was the buzz I was hearing. And after I actually saw Sentimental Value, that's what I thought as well. It was always going to be Stellan Skarsgård. But now with those two wins, the recent wins that Sean Penn has at BAFTA and the Actor Awards, I actually think Sean Penn's going to win. And he's going to deserve it. I mean, I think he is a somewhat flamboyant character, but the way that Sean Penn plays it, there's more to that character in Sean Penn's performance than I think there needs to be. Any actor could have taken that character and just gone by the book and had, the steely, determined attitude and, the secret passion that he has for Tiana Taylor, which he shouldn't have. I mean, the forbidden fruit. Any actor could have done that, but I think Sean Penn puts enough layers in it that it does really, really work. So yeah, Sean Penn does deserve this, and there's some flamboyant stuff at the end. I think Sean Penn will deserve it, but personally speaking, I think Stellan Skarsgård deserves it, and I think Stellan Skarsgård is my choice for what I think should win. The family drama of Sentimental Value, I mean, essentially playing a version of Ingmar Bergman, is very well done. I mean, the dynamics that Joachim Trier puts in as both director and writer, it's fascinating stuff. And Stellan Skarsgård puts together a performance of power and subtlety and selfishness, and saying all the right things to his estranged daughters, but they as characters and we as an audience know it's not quite there, it's not quite right. I think Stellan Skarsgård is a powerhouse performance, and I think he deserves to win, although I think Sean Penn actually will win. But yeah, my choice would be Stellan Skarsgård, but I think if I had to bet, it would be Sean Penn. Okay, moving on to adapted screenplay. For a long time, it looked like Hamnet was going to be the winner in this category. Yeah, Maggie O'Farrell and Chloe Zhao collaborating on adapting Maggie O'Farrell's novel. But honestly, I think this is another one where Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win. I mean, it's like buses. You go into an Oscar ceremony without an Oscar win, and I think he's going to win at least 2, maybe even 3. Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. I think he's nominated for Best Picture. I think he's a producer on One Battle After Another. Yeah, he is a producer, so Paul Thomas Anderson got 3 nominations for one film. I think he's got a very strong chance of winning all 3. I certainly think he is going to win Best Adapted Screenplay. I think its only real competition is probably going to be Hamnet. As to what I think should win, I think One Battle After Another is a very strong shout. I might actually go for Begonia, you know. I enjoyed Begonia a lot. I mean, it's got all that Yorgos Lanthimos weirdness, albeit the script was written by Will Tracy, whose last film before this was The Menu, which is a delightfully wicked satire of haute cuisine. But yeah, Will Tracy adapting this South Korean film Save the Green Planet put some really interesting stuff in there about conspiracy theories and mental health and, you know, dying bees, albeit we maybe kind of solved that one, or at least it's not the crisis that it was about a decade ago. But all that stuff, I mean, and the mind games that tries to be played between Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone, really fascinating stuff. And towards the end, there's some, you know, Yorgos Lanthimos weirdness, which I think is what attracted him to this project. I mean, the first time in a long time that he hasn't directed a film that was he either co-wrote alongside Efthimis Philippou or was written by Tony McNamara, who did Poor Things and The Favourite. But the fact that Will Tracy is now into the Yorgos Lanthimos, I think it was the stuff at the end which attracted Yorgos Lanthimos. And I think it works. Yeah, I think Begonia would be my choice, although One Battle After Another is going to be a very deserving winner. And Hamnet didn't do as well on nomination day as everybody expected. It didn't get cinematography. It didn't get editing. So I don't think Hamlet is as strong as everybody thought it was, and therefore I think One Battle After Another is a reasonably safe bet for the win in this category. As far as the original screenplay category goes, I think this is a pretty easy one to predict. I think that Sinners is a safe bet for what will win. And, I mean, as I said in my snubs video, I can make a really, really strong case for any of these 5 films to actually win the Best Adapted Screenplay category. With the possible exception of Marty Supreme, I'm on record as saying I'm not a fan of Marty Supreme, I'm not a fan of the Safdie brothers' panic attack style of filmmaking, or seemingly Josh Safdie's panic attack style of filmmaking, because Benny didn't really do that kind of thing with The Smashing Machine. But I mean, the other 4, I can make a really strong case. I mean, Blue Moon fantastic pieces of dialogue which reveal the character of Lawrence Hart as played by Ethan Hawke. It was just an accident, a brilliant blending of the absurd and the horrific, sentimental value, intricate family dynamics, and crises within families, as well as the conflict between life and art and turning life into art, and where are the boundaries there? Should there be boundaries? All of that is really great. And Sinners, layers upon layers, themes upon themes, so many different things happening, and it all cohering together really, really nicely. And for that reason, I think Sinners would be my choice as well. I think it will win, and I think it should win out of these 5 nominees. I just think it's a great piece of work, and I'm so glad that I was wrong and the Academy did appreciate Sinners on its own terms. So yeah, I think Sinners will win, and I think it should win. The next category is the first new category in a very long time, the best casting. And because this is a new category, we really don't know. We don't have precedent for what the Academy is going to do with this category. I mean, is it simply going to be, which film had the most stars in it? Who was able to attract the most stars? Is it, who had really great character actors in all those small little roles along the way? We don't know. So I think right now this category is a little bit like throwing darts at a dartboard. So I couldn't give an honest answer about what I think will win or what I think should win. I mean, like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm an amateur. I mean, what the hell do I know about what a good casting director is, what a good casting director does? I don't know. On the theory that there might be a sweep, let's say what I think will win is One Battle After Another. I have zero confidence in this, but let's just say that One Battle After Another will win, or at least that's where I'm putting my money. And similarly to a lot of these categories which have already happened, I think my choice might be Sinners. Because all the little roles, all the characters, I mean, Jamie Lawson, who plays Pearline, I mean, finding her and getting her to be part of the ensemble, part of the group, really works. All the little characters in all the little roles. I mean, the Chinese couple and their 2 stores on opposite sides of the road. I mean, the white store and the black store. I mean, all of that. Yeah, I like I said, I have no idea. I don't know what a casting director does, what a good casting director does. Let's just say Sinners should win. And I guess we'll move on to the next category. Ooh, which is best cinematography. It's one of those categories where a name matters. I mean, Darius Kondji always gets nominated, and he got nominated once again for Marty Supreme. But I actually think that this might be a 2-horse race between Autumn Durald Archipel for Sinners and Adolfo Veloso for Train Dreams. I mean, as I've said in other of these videos, I think Train Dreams is very much an atmosphere piece. It's a mood piece. The look of the film is just stunning. I mean, the breathtaking vistas of the American West, Idaho, Washington State, that kind of area. It's beautiful. But what Autumn Durald Archipel did with Sinners, the richness, I mean, getting so much visual flair out of a film which is largely set at night with a largely black cast, which is not nothing when it comes to lighting. And I also think it's very cool that, I mean, this is the 98th Academy Award ceremony, and Autumn Durald Archipel is only the 4th woman to be nominated in the Best Cinematography category. That's kind of absurd. And she's the first one who I think has a really, really strong chance of winning. My choice would be between those two. I mean, Dan Laustsen for Frankenstein is another one who kind of gets nominated a lot. Darius Khondji gets nominated a lot. Michael Bauman for One Battle After Another. I think that what I felt when watching those films, I honestly would be happy with either one of these. I think what will win and what should win, I do not know. Okay, let's say Sinners will win because it's the bigger film. I think if I had to bet, I would say Autumn Durald Archipel will be the first woman to win the Best Cinematography. And yeah, I think she should win. The more I think about it, the more I am impressed with the look and the feel of Sinners. Very much as I was impressed with Train Dreams and Adolfo Veloso, but yeah, I think Autumn Durald Archipel or Sinners will win and should win. But don't be surprised if Adolfo Veloso for Train Dreams comes in and actually wins that category. Best Costume Design is the next one. Honestly, I thought this was going to be an easy one. I thought Wicked for Good was going to get nominated and win for the second year in a row, but obviously that didn't happen. And can we just acknowledge them for a fact? I mean, out of the 5 nominees, Avatar got nominated for Best Costume Design, when that's notoriously and famously a digital film, essentially. What? But anyway. In this category, they tend to go for either big flamboyant costumes or historical costumes, period costumes. And there's one film out of this list which fits both of those categories, so I think what will win is Frankenstein. That would be my bet. And honestly, I think that would be my choice as well. So yeah, what I think will win and what I think should win is Frankenstein. But again, I mean, that's something I don't really have any expertise in, but there you go. Let's say Frankenstein for Best Costume Design. Best Editing. Yeah, this is another one. No expertise at all. I mean, I think it's very notable that F1 got nominated in this category because, you know, sports movie, action movie often gets in for Best Editing. It's kind of surprising that Sentimental Value made the cut in this category, but I can see that happening. I mean, the way that, you know, the intimate spaces and the little flourishes, the little flares that Joachim Trier and his co-writer Oscar Vogt put in. I mean, essentially having the house talking to us to some degree. I can kind of see it, but yeah, what's going to win? I mean, is this going to be another category where it's going to be a toss-up between One Battle After Another and Sinners? It could well be. And since... Alright, let's say there's going to be a sweep. So I think what will win is One Battle After Another. And what should win? You know what? I think what I'm going to say should win is Marty Supreme. I mean, I'm on record as saying, in this video I'm on record as saying, I'm not a fan of Marty Supreme. because it's a film which induces a level of anxiety which I'm really not comfortable with. And I think that is a large part down to the editing. So it's a weird statement to say, but the fact I don't like the film or didn't respond strongly enough to the film is the reason why Marty Supreme maybe should deserve best editing. It's a weird statement to say, but yeah, I think that's the direction I would go in. Marty Supreme failing as a film for its editing, but therefore I think it actually should win. Okay, makeup and hairstyling. This is an unusual one because historically there's two kinds of films which get this award. Either there's prosthetics which are so transformative, so impressive that you just can't help but say, oh yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, like Darkest Hour, I think Bombshell, I can't remember if that won, but it definitely got nominated. And sometimes you have, the big, flamboyant, squelchy kind of makeup and hairstyling, like The Substance last year. And there's not really anything in the first category. I mean, a noticeable, a big, prominent film which got into the conversation for Best Picture, which does have a lot of prosthetics. You can argue about Frankenstein and Sinners. I mean, quite honestly, I'm not sure why Koku Ho and the Smashing Machine are in this. I mean, Koku Ho has a little bit of aging prosthetics at the end, but not much. And it does have the very elaborate kabuki makeup. I mean, it's about a kabuki actor who has that very elaborate, very specific makeup. So there's that, and a tiny bit of aging prosthetics at the end. But I really don't know why Koku Ho is here. And the Smashing Machine does have a little bit of prosthetic work. I mean, making The Rock look like the real MMA fighter he's portraying, but not a lot. So I don't know why the Smashing Machine and Koku Ho are there. And Sinners and Frankenstein are the prominent films which have the most prosthetics. In Frankenstein, I don't honestly see it that much. I mean, sort of like great, transcendent prosthetics. I think this one is actually going to go to Sinners. I think Sinners will win because it is the biggest, most Best Picture ready film, which does have a significant amount of prosthetics. I mean, the scars on Sammy that we see at the beginning, and the vampire makeup when we have that. I mean, obviously the big teeth. Yeah, I think Sinners is going to win. But what I think should win, and I think there's a chance, I think there's a slim chance, but I would love it if The Ugly Stepsister won. That would be my choice. Because there's stuff in The Ugly Stepsister which is really impressive. I mean, it's that kind of elaborate, flamboyant prosthetics like The Substance last year. In fact, there's a couple of scenes in The Ugly Stepsister which are very much like The Substance. I mean, this Norwegian film, which to some degree is all about its prosthetics. It's about the ugly stepsister of the Cinderella story, but from her perspective, and the way that societal expectations and beauty standards force her down these paths, and she ends up mutilated and mutilating herself. And there's some truly disgusting stuff at the end of The Ugly Stepsister. I think it is really impressive, and I think if your argument is the most prosthetics, then The Ugly Stepsister, I think, should win. And yeah, I really enjoyed The Ugly Stepsister and enjoyed the squelchy body horror that there is towards the end, as well as the more mundane mutilation. I mean, you see on the poster, I mean, the facial mutilations, obviously in accordance with the original fairy tale, there are feet that get mutilated in order to fit into the slipper. So yeah, I would love it if The Ugly Stepsister won, but I think ultimately it's going to be a toss-up between Frankenstein and Sinners. And I think Sinners is going to win that one. But we shall see. We shall have to see if people actually saw The Ugly Stepsister in order to vote for it. But there we go. Production design. This is another category which tends to go for the most flamboyant, it's the most genre-friendly, one of the most genre-friendly categories. And honestly, I can't see too much further than Frankenstein for actually winning. Guillermo del Toro's gothic, flamboyant approach, his visual approach, is very much in keeping with what people look for in best production design. I think Frankenstein's going to win. Yeah, and I think it should win it as well. I mean, I can't make a strong enough argument for anything other than Frankenstein. I mean, Hamnet being the period detail, I think that's got a chance. If there is a genuine sweep, one battle after another, but the fact that one battle after another even got nominated in this category, I think is a win. Maybe Sinners? I could see that happening, but yeah, I honestly can't see too much further beyond Frankenstein. So yeah, I think Frankenstein is going to win for best production design. Best score. Yeah, I'm really disappointed that the techno score by Kang Ding Ray for Sirat, the Spanish film Sirat, didn't get nominated. I'm really pleased it got shortlisted. I mean, I wasn't the hugest fan of the film Sirat, which I might be talking about later, but the techno score, the rave score for Sirat by Kang Ding Ray, I was really impressed with. And also the surprisingly modern score for Marty Supreme that Daniel Lopatin did. I really thought that was going to get a nomination, but it didn't. And honestly, you can't really look too far beyond Ludwig Göransson for Sinners. He's won pretty much everything, all the precursors up to this. I don't think he's gonna be overtaken for the Oscars. It's Ludwig Göransson for Sinners. I can't see anything beyond that. Although, what I think should win, just because he's been screwed over by the Oscars, both on technicalities and when he got nominated, he's got not screwed over in the past. Johnny Greenwood for One Battle After Another. I mean, a couple of his scores were deemed ineligible, which is bullshit in my opinion. And then when he did get nominated, he didn't win. So yeah, what I think should win, for personal reasons, not for any particular skill reasons. I mean, score is definitely a category which I really don't feel skilled enough or competent enough to actually make comments on. I mean, I honestly barely notice scores, and it's usually only when they're really intrusive and really over the top that I notice them and complain about them. This is a category I have no strong feelings on. So, for personal reasons, for the fact I like Johnny Greenwood and I want him to eventually win, I think he should win. But Ludwig Göransson is going to win for Sinners. Well, the next category is going to be very, very easy for two reasons. One, because I've done an entire video about the Best Original Song category. and how Diane Warren is completely screwing things up. I mean, this year she got nominated for a documentary about herself. The song Dear Me, sung by Kesha, for the documentary Diane Warren Relentless. That's an Ouroboros of bullshit. I mean, just the snake eating its own tail. But yeah, what will win is Golden by EJ et al. From K-pop Demon Hunters, and I think it's what should win. It's a phenomenon. I think it deserves to win. Out of the nominees, I mean, in my video I selected something else which was shortlisted but didn't get nominated, so you'll have to check out that video to hear about that. But yeah, Golden is going, even though I think What It Sounds Like is my favourite song from the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack, the big song at the end where everybody comes together. I mean, My Voice Without the Lies, This Is What It Sounds Like. And that's kind of the theme of the entire film, and I think it's excellent. And I also find it interesting that they didn't even submit Soda Pop, which is quite possibly the most catchy song of 2025 in a film. But yeah, Golden is going to win, and it's going to deserve to win. It's a phenomenon. It deserves to be a phenomenon. It's excellent. Moving on. Best Sound. Okay, yeah, this is another category I'm basically clueless in. It's a reasonably safe rule of thumb that an action film and a car film like F1 is going to at least get nominated, maybe even win. I'm really pleased that Sirat, the Spanish film, which is all about music, got nominated. I don't think it's going to win. Yeah, this is a difficult one. Yeah, I think the safe bet to say what will win is probably F1. I'm really not confident about it though, but yeah, I think F1 is probably the safest bet to what will win. As to what should win, yeah, I think I'm actually going to say Sirat. I mean, I was not a fan of the film Sirat, but one thing you can definitely say about Sirat is the atmosphere created by the sound, created by the music. I mean, the rave culture in North Africa that the film is all about. It is immersive. It drags you in. It brings you in to the scene that these people are in. So yeah, I actually think Sirat should win, but I think F1 will win. We shall have to see. But again, I am not an expert in that category at all. Yeah, visual effects. I mean, why does anybody else bother? Avatar is going to win. Avatar is inevitable in this category. It has been for the first two films. There's no reason why it shouldn't be for the next film. I mean, this is one of the reasons I didn't bother watching Jurassic World, because of course Avatar is going to win. And yeah, it probably should win. Yeah, I'm sure Jurassic World Rebirth has great dinosaurs and everything that the previous ones did. F1 visual effects, don't quite see it. Sinners, yeah, it's got the fire tornado towards the end. That's cool, and lots of other vampire type stuff. I think The Lost Bus got nominated for its fire effects. I mean, 'cause that's what the film is about. It's a bus trying to escape a deadly forest fire in Northern California. So I think it was the fire effects that got The Lost Bus nominated. I wasn't actually that impressed with the fire effects. I mean, as I was watching The Lost Bus, I was thinking to myself, that fire doesn't actually look very convincing. I don't feel the threat of it. So the fact it actually got nominated over, I mean, Superman got shortlisted, Wicked for Good, Frankenstein got shortlisted, The Electric State got shortlisted. One of the most expensive films in history, and it's utterly forgettable, utter bullshit. Not that I ever watched it, but from everything I heard. And the fact I didn't want to watch it, I think, probably says something. Yeah, Superman, I did watch, and I think that the effects in Superman, I would have taken over The Lost Bus and F1. But, I mean, this is... It's futile debating about this because Avatar is going to win. I mean, it's the whole point of Avatar is the visuals, it's the visual effect. So yeah, Avatar will win, and I think it should win. I mean, the technology breakthroughs that James Cameron and his team and Weta have done, yeah, Avatar will win, should win, pretty easy. Animated feature. I think this is kind of the same as the best song category. K-pop Demon Hunters is going to win. And despite the fact I'm on record as saying, I mean, as I talked about a lot in my snubs video, I think the hegemony of the mainstream 3D CG animated films, Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, increasingly Sony as K-pop Demon Hunters was. We need more independent, we need more international features. And I'm glad we've got, 2 French films in this list. But honestly, I think K-pop Demon Hunters is brilliant. I think it's kind of a masterpiece. The way it has all those mainstream attitudes to it, and yet it has so much heart, it has so much vibrancy. I mean, it's got the themes it puts together are done really, really well. It's a film with layers. I loved it. So yeah, I think K-pop Demon Hunters is the best animated film of this cycle. So yeah, it will win, and I think it should win, despite the French films in the list. So yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters in that category is pretty easy to talk about. Yeah, best documentary. This is one, it's a little bit difficult to predict. I mean, quite often there's one standout film. It gets all the publicity, all the attention. You think, oh yeah, that's going to win. That's not really the case this year. I think the favourite is The Perfect Neighbour. And it's a documentary which is kind of fascinating. For its filmmaking, I think it's quite impressive. Because 90% of it is done through police body cams. Seeing the repeated call-outs for this Karen woman in a suburb in Florida, this white woman who is so annoyed by all the black kids in her mostly black neighborhood, causing trouble and making noise. I mean, they're kids, and yet you repeatedly, constantly, over the course of about a year, call out the police to sort them out. And eventually this white woman kills the black mother of one of these kids and tries to get away with it because of Florida's stand your ground laws. And the way it's all pieced together almost exclusively by body cam footage from the police. I mean, towards the end we have, news footage and all that kind of stuff. But most of the film, I mean, the vast majority of the film is body cam footage and audio from witness statements being taken by the police. The way it's been put together by director Geeta Gandbir, who also got nominated for documentary short as well in the same year. She got 2 nominations for 2 different films in the same year, which is impressive. Yeah, I think the filmmaking of The Perfect Neighbour is probably what's going to take it over the top. It is the favourite, and I think it's going to win. I mean, I think all of these films have a really strong chance of winning. And I think I would be okay with any of them winning. I think Cutting Through Rocks, I mean, as I talked about in my snobs video, Cutting Through Rocks is the least of them, I would say. I definitely would have preferred 2000 Meters to Andreevka be put in. But all of them I can make a good case for. I mean, one of my personal favourite films is Come See Me in the Good Light, which, even though it's about somebody dying, it has enough positivity and enough emotion to it that I responded really, really strongly to Come See Me in the Good Light. The Alabama Solution is devastating. I mean, the fact that in Alabama prisons, prison guards are essentially murdering inmates with impunity, because that's just the way it is in a red state. Oh, you are a criminal, therefore you have basically no rights. And that's embedded, ingrained into the system. So yeah, the Alabama Solution is horrifying, but kind of brilliant. But actually what I think should win is Mr. Nobody Against Putin. I think it's a really interesting documentary. It's a high school teacher in Russia, and one of his jobs is as the school's videographer. If there's a graduation ceremony, if there's a party, he's the official person who does the videos. And therefore, he is the person who documents as this high school in a small industrial town in Russia gradually gets turned into a factory for soldiers. The increasing militarism of Putin's Russia, the patriotism of Putin's Russia. It's kind of horrifying to see. And this guy documents it with bravery and just enough humour as well. It's surprisingly funny for such a dark subject matter. I mean, but it's really, really well done. So yeah, I think personally the best documentary is probably Mr. Nobody Against Putin. But I think The Perfect Neighbour is going to win. That's going to be a deserving winner. I mean, all of these would be deserving winners, I think. But for the filmmaking style, I mean, doing mostly through body cam footage, The Perfect Neighbour, I think, is the winner in that category. Best International Feature. I mean, this is a pretty easy one because 2 out of these 5 listed films also got nominated for Best Picture, so really it's a choice between The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value. Those are the 2 that got a Best Picture nomination, and honestly and sadly for me, I think The Secret Agent is going to win. In my opinion, Sentimental Value is substantially better than The Secret Agent, as is The Voice of Hind Rajab. But The Secret Agents, I think, is going to win. But what should win, as I've said many times in many videos, my favourite film of 2025, It Was Just an Accident. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's brilliant. And it upsets me enormously that it did not get in to the Best Picture list. But it did get Best International Feature, which is something. And it got Best Original Screenplay as well, which is something. So you can say Jafar Panahi, Oscar nominee now, which is great. It's not going to win, which upsets me, but it should win. It Was Just an Accident is my favourite film of 2025. So now we come to the shorts, and I have actually watched all 5 of the animated shorts. And these are really, really difficult to predict. But the favourite, and therefore what I think will win, is the film Papillon, or Butterfly, which is directed by the French animation director Florence Miala, who a few years ago did a feature-length film called The Crossing, which got a lot of strong reviews and strong reactions coming out of the festival circuit. Honestly speaking, I wasn't the hugest fan of The Crossing, but it is a respected film, and Florence Miala is a respected director. And there are several reasons for thinking that Papillon Butterfly is going to be the winner. It's done in a really interesting, really beautiful way. This is one of those animated films which is basically painted. It's painted onto glass, and that is how all the frames were done. It looks amazing, and it's also obviously very, very labour intensive to do it that way, which does matter in the animated categories. So it's beautiful looking. The subject matter is also important and impressive because it's indirectly about the Holocaust. It's essentially a biopic of a real life French swimmer who was North African and Jewish and went to the 1936 Olympics. And actually got sent to concentration camps, and his wife and daughter died in Auschwitz. He survived and went on to a somewhat fulfilling life. It's not specifically said in the short, but I believe he ended up on the island of Réunion in the Pacific. It's an important subject matter. It's a beautiful animation style, and Florence Miala has profile as a respected animation director. So I think Papillon Butterfly is a reasonably safe bet in a very uncertain field. I mean, like I said, the shorts are often impossible to predict, but the best job I can say is Papillon. What I think should win, my favourite out of these five, is The Girl Who Cried Pearls, which is a Canadian stop motion animation done in a really tactile way. I mean, the maquettes used, it's lots of fabric, lots of junk. I mean, it's essentially put together from trash and made to look like that. I mean, set in late 19th century, maybe early 20th century, as a dirt poor boy lives next to a girl who is being abused by her stepmother, physically abused by her stepmother. And every night the girl cries, but she cries pearls. So this very, very poor boy next door starts, makes a little hole in the wall and starts taking these pearls and trying to sell them and trying to improve his life. But how does he feel about this? The guilt he feels. I mean, this girl's suffering is making me wealthy. And he tries to make the girl feel better, but then she stops crying, so she stops getting the pearls. I mean, it's complicated. And then there's a couple of twists towards the end of this very short animated film, which works really, really well. And yeah, I mean, the animation style, it is very impressive. The stop motion, very, very tactile feel. I really, really like the Girl Who Cried Pearls. That is my favourite. I think it's actually got a decent chance of winning. Of these five, I think Forever Green, which is an American CG animated film, very, very polished, very, very mainstream. It feels to me like a showreel, hey, hire us Disney or Pixar, please. That's what it feels like. I mean, there's nothing especially wrong with that, but actually getting nominated for a film like that, maybe not. Retirement Plan from Ireland. I mean, this is actually voiced by Donald Gleeson, which is pretty cool. Kind of a cel-drawn animation, kind of done in marker pen, it feels like. Got very thick lines, very flat colours. It's actually a really good story. I mean, a guy saying all the things that he's going to do when he retires. And as it goes on, it gets more and more absurd, slightly from the pretty mundane to the more elaborate. And then ultimately coming to the conclusion, well, what, you're wasting your life saying, I'm going to do this in the future. Why not just start doing it now? You could. Yeah, it's quite poignant. And then Three Sisters is from Russia, and it's a pretty standard cel-drawn, flat, animated style. It was enjoyable enough, but getting an Oscar nomination for that? No. So yeah, I really think it's between Papillon and The Girl Who Cried Pearls. Maybe Retirement Plan, because often a celebrity being involved maybe elevates it, and Donald Gleason doing the voice maybe helps. But yeah, I would be surprised if either The Girl Who Cried Pearls or Papillon didn't win. And I think Papillon is going to win, and it would be deserved. But my favourite is The Girl Who Cried Pearls. So, moving on to the documentary shorts, and I haven't seen any of these. I mean, the link expired before I had a chance to watch them. So, yeah. All I know is what I've heard about these. I mean, the synopses. We have All the Empty Rooms available on Netflix, which is about the rooms left behind by child victims of school shootings. Depressing as fuck. Armed Only with a Camera is a biopic of a war photographer who died in Ukraine, and it's directed by the guy's brother, kind of as a tribute to him. Children No More, Where Are Gone is about protests in Israel of group of Jewish people who silently hold up pictures of dead Palestinian children as a form of protest about the conflict in Gaza, and the vitriol that comes back at them from the Israeli public. That sounds pretty hard-hitting. The Devil is Busy, which is co-directed by Geeta Gandbir, who did The Perfect Neighbour, the feature documentary. But this is the day in the life of an abortion clinic in Atlanta, Georgia. And the protests that are constantly outside, the security guard who has to check for bombs every morning. Yay. The argument about female reproductive rights is such a mess. But yeah, that sounds fascinating. And Perfectly a Strangeness. I'm actually kind of fascinated by this one, because apparently it's about a group of donkeys wandering around a Chilean desert when they come across an abandoned observatory. Okay. Nominate that for Best Documentary. Maybe Best Art Installation, maybe, but who knows. I think the favourite for this is All the Empty Rooms. If nothing else, it's available on Netflix. There's easy access for the voting body. Even though Armed Only with a Camera, The Devil is Busy, and I think also Children No More are all available on HBO Max. So that is not necessarily a huge advantage that All the Empty Rooms is on Netflix. But it is an advantage, I think. People will have the opportunity to see it, and therefore people will have the opportunity to vote for it. And it is an issue which is important. I mean, the amount of children who die for the sake of the Second Amendment is depressing. We don't have gun crime here in the UK. Look up the Dunblane massacre in 1996. I mean, actually, we're coming up to the anniversary. There was a documentary on TV. That was this week. There's going to be a documentary about the anniversary of Dunblane. We got rid of handguns in homes. And we don't have gun crime. We have an alarming amount of knife crime, but we don't have gun crime here in the UK. I mean, you can kill dozens of people in an instant with an AK-47. With a knife, you need a lot more effort and a lot more chance for people to get away. But anyway, I think, not having seen any of these, I think All the Empty Rooms is what I think will win and I guess should win. And the final category I'm going to talk about is live action shorts. We have Butcher Stain from Israel, A Friend of Dorothy from here in the UK, Jane Austen's period drama from the UK, The Singers from the US, and Two People Exchanging Saliva from France. Now, something that often helps in the shorts category is if a famous person is in the short. Like a couple of years ago, Riz Ahmed starred in and co-directed a short and that won the Oscar. And this year we've got a couple. A Friend of Dorothy co-stars Miriam Margolyes and Stephen Fry is also in it. And Two People Exchanging Saliva has got Vicky Creeps in it, Luana Bajrami, who was the third girl in Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and has been in other stuff as well. She's a great actress. And also Zaramir Ebrahimi, the Iranian-born actress who got exiled from Iran and ended up winning Best Actress at Cannes for the Danish film Holy Spider. So Zaramir Ebrahimi, Vicky Creeps and Luana Bajrami in Two People Exchanging Saliva. But that one sounds very, very surreal. Basically a world where kissing is so illegal you will be instantly executed if you are seen kissing on the streets. And people pay for things by getting slapped. Yeah, you say, yes, I want that handbag. So the girl behind the counter puts on a glove and starts slapping you for a certain amount of times. Okay, hello, Lanthimos-inspired story. That seems to be what it is. So yeah, I think that one, even though it's got the celebrities in it, that might be too weird for the room. I'm honestly a little bit surprised it got nominated even. Jane Austen's period drama, this one sounds quite funny, but it does sound like a comedy sketch. Basically, early 19th century, finally, I am going to be proposed to. He's finally got the right circumstances. It's the proper time to propose, and oh no, my period started early, and now there's blood on my skirts, and the guy in front of me doesn't know what's going on because he went to the good schools and he just doesn't know what's going on with women. Sounds very fun, but it sounds like a comedy sketch. Butcher's Stain is an Israeli film about an Arab Israeli butcher who gets accused of taking hostage posters down in the break room at the supermarket where he works. And of course, oh yeah, you're an Arab, of course you're the one who's ripping down these posters. And stop doing it or you'll be fired. And he says, well, I'm not doing it. But of course, he's the Arab, so he's going to get fired because these posters keep coming down and he has to prove his innocence. And yeah, I mean, that sounds interesting. A Friend of Dorothy, and as I said, it co-stars Miriam Margolyes, is an older woman who has this young boy or sort of teenager kick a football into her garden, soccer ball into her garden. And he comes around saying, can I have my ball back? And he says, well, yeah, could you help me do a few things around the house? And Miriam Margolyes clocks instantly that, oh, this kid's gay and he hasn't quite come to terms with it. So Miriam Margolyes helps this teenager come to terms with his sexuality, being a friend of Dorothy. And that sounds cute, but again, maybe a little bit slight. The Singers is a bar, a dingy bar, where people start singing at each other, which sounds pretty odd, but from everything I've heard, that seems to be the favourite. I think The Singers might be the winner, particularly since, I mean, like I was talking about documentary, this one's available on Netflix, so people definitely have the opportunity to see The Singers, and I think that might help it elevate to actually get enough votes to win. So that's what I'm picking for what will win. And again, not having seen any of these, I guess that's what I would say should win as well. I really have no strong opinions on the shorts either way, but I would say The Singers as what will win and what should win, I guess. So, there we have it. There are my thoughts on the 2026 Oscar ceremony for the 2025 Oscar season. Gonna have to put all those in my awards expert app and update it. I really should update that a lot more often than I do. But I'm going to put all that in my awards expert app and see how well I do compared to other people around the world. I'm probably not going to do very well because I think I'm going to go with my heart more than my head in a lot of these cases. But in any case, we'll see how I do. And yes, I will be doing a reaction to the Oscar ceremony itself, which is actually a week away as I'm recording this, I think. Yeah, I think this time next week I will be just about to start watching the Oscars, I think. But whenever it comes up, however it happens, that is what I will be doing, which I've done for the last couple of years. And you'll get my live reaction to the winners and the ceremony itself, because I always comment about all the stuff that happens. I mean, Conan O'Brien presenting again this year. I wasn't that impressed with him last year. It's going to be interesting seeing how much he does and what he does with Rose Byrne being nominated for If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, which co-starred Conan O'Brien. And yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing if they're bringing back the best song performances this year. It's going to be interesting seeing if Huntrix actually perform Golden, but that's all for next week. I will be doing a reaction to the Oscar ceremony, and then after that, pretty much as soon as the lineup for the Cannes Film Festival is announced, which I believe is end of April-ish, that's where I'll start doing next year's Oscar previews, the 2027 ceremony. It never ends, but that's what I signed up for. So, yes. Plenty of Oscar stuff coming on this channel, plenty of other stuff like TV reactions for Charmed, amongst other things. And, yeah, movie reactions. I think the next one I'm planning to do is the Sam Raimi film Send Help. That's probably going to be the next one that's going to be available to me. So, yeah, have a look around the channel, maybe find something you like. You can consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, leaving a comment, do anything which helps the algorithm promote this tiny, tiny little channel. If you watched this far into this particular video, maybe I deserve a like. And I think that is where I leave you. So, all that remains for me to say is this has been a presentation of the Yay, Nay or Meh channel. And I will see you next time where I shine a light on TV and cinema, both obvious and obscure.